Have you ever fallen on tough times and said to yourself, God, just not my day, my month, or maybe even just not my year? Yes, of course you have. Heck, maybe you've been saying that for the past few years. Seems like every realtor and lender and company in our space was collectively saying, just not my year. Or maybe even worse, maybe I don't have what it takes anymore. Well, time to get real with each other. Let's dig in. First, let's set the tone for today's show and find some common ground and say, yes, of course, we've all said that before and we've all questioned our ability during a difficult time of extended adversity. It's human nature. Doesn't matter if you're a top producer or an average Joe, we've all questioned our abilities before. Wouldn't be human if you didn't. But what I want to talk about today is not the adversity itself, but rather how we respond to adversity. Let me explain. Recently, my family has hit a tough financial patch. First, it started with busted pipes that flooded the entire downstairs, which has been pretty expensive and really stressful. Then, of course, the repairs took twice as long and costed twice as much, maybe even 3 times. As we're approaching the end of this crazy mess, my son's car stops working while he's driving, so he limps it down to the Honda shop. And yeah, $5,000 later, we finally leave the shop. And then, on top of all that, my daughter's car decides to stop working, and that was $3,000 later. And we finally get that home, only to have the jet ski stop working. Are you freaking kidding me? Can you stop lobbing really crazy situations at us, God or universe or whoever's deciding to make our lives really hard right now? God, give us a break. Oh, by the way, we're not done. Then the water heater decided to give out as well, and that's $10,000. And then my wife and I started to say, or think, at least think things like, figures, just not our luck. Story of our life. Go figure. Of course it happened to me. Just my fortune. Wouldn't you know it? Par for the course. Or the classic bad things happen in 3s, or for me, 5s and 6s right now. And finally, when it rains, it pours. We've all said these statements before, haven't we? I mean, everybody said them. We've probably uttered them several times over the past few years after we lost a loan, or maybe after we lost a listing, or after losing a referral partner to retirement, or maybe they just quit and left the business. Maybe your company closed and you said, God, just not my luck. I guess the reason I bring this up is I started going down that path too in my personal life. But thankfully and quickly I checked myself. Throwing a pity party wasn't going to make me feel better, and it certainly wasn't going to improve my situation, and it wasn't going to put money back in my pocket. I needed to look at this differently and not take a victim mindset approach. But how would I do that? I mean, these were all random sets of events that happened to occur back to back to back to back to back to back. You get the point. How would I take ownership of seemingly random events that were awful? Well, let's take a step back and see if that's even possible. First, the busted pipes. How in the heck would I take a different perspective to some random event and maybe even take ownership of it? Well, Seattle doesn't freeze during the winter very often, and it certainly is not cold enough to burst pipes, but it did last winter. And instead of covering and insulating my pipes, I left them alone to the winter and with no help. And when you know it, it weakened my pipes and eventually burst them several months later after Old Man Winter did a number on them. Upon further review and reflection, it was on me, and it was preventable. It's tough to admit, but it's true. That one was on me. Okay, well, what was next? Oh yeah, my son's car stopping while he's driving. Seems to be random, and it really sucked to happen right after the bursted pipes. Or was it? I mean, we purchased the car used, and we knew it needed maintenance, but we delayed it, and unfortunately for us, the delayed maintenance risk decided to bite us right in the butt after the pipes burst. So that sucks. And then even worse, the same problem occurred with my daughter's car the next day. And upon further review, throw the flag, ref, let's take a second look, it was on us again, and not some godly misfortune. And the same goes for the jet ski and even the water heater. It seemed like a really bad or random set of events, and it would be easy to say, when it rains, it pours, but we learned nothing from that but how to become a victim, and I refuse to be that. Team, this isn't a story about my family's misfortunes. It's a story about all of ours. Sure, there's things that happen to us that are completely out of our control, but upon second review, many of them are. Case in point, let's take a look at a really tough one that is seemingly out of your control. Ryan, how could I have known my company was going to close shop or sell last year? Well, maybe perhaps on second review, the signs were there all along. Maybe we just ignored them, not wanting it to be true. Ryan, how could I control all my referral partners quitting or retiring? Again, in retrospect, were there signs screaming out to replace, redo, and even reinvent your business plan the entire time? I think most of us would say, yeah, in all honesty, there was. Ryan, business came to a screeching halt and my finances were a disaster because of it. I hear you. And it sucks. And it's a really bad situation to be in. But could we have saved more during the gold rush of 2020? And let's be honest again, weren't there signs all along the way showing us that this run wouldn't last long? Yes, of course there was. We've all faced adversity recently. We've all had to restart and reinvent ourselves. Some of us haven't, and some of us are still in victim and blame mode. And I'm here to tell you from personal and professional experience, and please hear me on this, there's nothing redeeming about sitting back and pointing the finger at God or the universe or some empty saying like, when it rains, it pours. No one is the wiser with statements and postures like this. We have not improved our position in life, whether it be personal or professional, with a thought process, a posture, or a stance as woe as me. All we've done is tricked ourselves into blaming someone else for our misfortune. And while that may provide temporary comfort and relief in some weird way, it certainly doesn't provide a solution. Let's truly reflect on our lives and these situations and own what we can own. And trust me on this, guys, even if you don't feel like owning it, own it. Why? Because it will help you prepare and prevent similar situations like this happening in the future. When it rains, it pours? No. Let's replace that statement and other victim statements that I shared earlier with powerful life-changing statements and better yet daily habits like success is where preparation meets opportunity, or luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, or the best of luck is all the luck you make for yourself, or opportunity dances with those already on the dance floor. And my favorite, fortune favors the prepared. We all know several people that need to hear this message today. Share that with them and let's swap when it rains, it pours with fortune favors the prepared. I love you all. Please receive this message with love. Onward and upward, team. Let's go.